Hey everybody, welcome to Piano Lessons with Elvin. Episode 7, I think. We're going to work on some minor scale formulas for you all. I hope you're having an awesome day out there. So yeah, we'll just get rocking. Let me grab the phone. I think last time we were doing major scale stuff. So here we go with the minor scales. Please look back to the other videos about whole steps and half steps and all of that stuff, as I'm just going to assume you know that by now. So, should I assume? I'm just going to do this super fast. Okay. Half step, no note in between. Whole step, one note in between. Cool. Okay, so the one thing with minor scales are there's 3 types here, and at the end I'll explain this here, but I have a little chart here that you can take a little screenshot of there. Whoa, what does that say? Huh? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the natural minor here, which, think of the word natural in this context as just meaning just like the default one or what the original key signature is. We haven't really talked about specific what key signature means yet, so you can kind of ignore that term. And sometimes I think just accept that it's called a natural minor and don't question it. all of those answers get solved as your skill and knowledge improves. So we're going to start with A minor here, just because it's the easiest one to show since it's all white keys. And we'll call this one a natural minor. And then just like we do with any type of scale, like with the majors, we break it down on the formula of half steps and whole steps. So A to B will be a whole step, note in between. B to C, half step, no note in between. Then whole step, half step, no note in between. Whole step, whole step. Cool, so you can think the formula being whole, half, whole, half, whole. One more time. Whole, half, half, whole. Now, I will do a separate video on the fingering of these scales, just like I did with major scales here. And this one, so yeah, here would be called the natural minor. A natural minor. Now, the second type of minor is what we call the harmonic minor, which is when we take the 7th note of the scale and we go up a half step, or more specifically, we sharp the 7th note. Sharps go up, flats go down. But here's the formula for the natural scale that we just talked about. Whole, half, whole, half, whole. You do the same thing, but on the 7th note, raise it up a half step. So it'll be like this. Here's note 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go ahead and sharp that, or raise it up a half step. Everything else is the same. Now I know immediately you'll go, oh, that kind of has a cool Middle Eastern sound. I love this scale. Now, when you do start playing it, it's going to feel awkward with your fingers because of this stretch here. This is going to be pretty uncomfortable. It gets way less uncomfortable with skill, but even for me, playing this feels a lot nicer than that. It's a bit of a stretch. But, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So that would be the harmonic minor. And then the last type of minor scale would be the melodic minor, where going up, you raise the 6th and the 7th. So here was just the 7th. Now going up, you raise the 6th and the 7th up a half step. But then when you're going down, you bring both of them back to regular, or natural would be the term, or you could think in this case, you make them back to the white keys. On piano, anytime you have a natural, it's going to revert back to the white key. And I'll explain why, because you could be like, why the 7 note, why 6 and 7, and why 7 and 6 going down? I'll explain that in a second here. But so here would be the melodic minor. So first we have the natural, all white keys, then the harmonic, raise the 7th. Now for the final one, the melodic, here comes the 6th note, up a half step, 7th note, up a half step. And then on the way down, bring everything back to regular, like natural minor. Now, why would they do that? Why would composers have these three types? It's a bit of a pain because with major scales, you just have a major scale. Minor scales are like, we're going to be confusing and make three of them. So instead of just learning one scale, like for majors, you got to learn 3 times as many. Yeah. But the point of this here to me, I don't know how, sometimes I like to avoid the super precise answers. Like I was saying earlier, like, sometimes they don't help you that much. And at these beginning stages, we're just trying to get our skill up. But I'll explain it mostly, you can see the answer based on the names in essence. So like the harmonic minor is a scale used to derive harmonies from. So you can think about it that way. Composers altered the scale a bit to create more colorful kind of chords in essence. Like a big thing, and this is where I'm intentionally avoiding some of the specifics here, but a big reason for making this was they wanted this sound. That has such a strong link to want to hit what we will end up calling home or the tonic. Like if I'm going, your ear really wants to hear dawn. So that's why they would create that. That's a big reason, and I can get into more specifics. But think the harmonic minor scale exists to extract harmonies from or chords from. But then composers would go, let's stack that with a scale, so now you can have harmonies underneath, and then we need a scale to play that with. But if they use the same scale for melodies, they'd run into this issue, which just immediately spices up the music here. It has such a distinct character here that it's just hard to create, whatever mood you're going for. As soon as you get this in there, you can really throw things in a loop. And particularly when you think about when these scales all originated, it's not like they had, think about when these were starting hundreds of years ago in Europe. So they're not really thinking, let's make something based on the pyramids here. And then, that's just me extrapolating a bit. But this is where the melodic scale would come into play. If they had to find a situation, we love to use the harmonic minor to extract chords from. But let's create a third kind of scale so we can have a smooth scale to play on top of the harmonic minor for the chords. And this is where that came in. That sounds a lot smoother and nice. You can hear all those kind of pretty sounds there. But then the reason why on the way down they went back to regular was on the descent, if you kept them both raised, the 6 and 7s, it sounds too much like a major scale for too long. There it finally goes to minor. It almost sounds like, joy to the world. So a big thing there is they don't want to confuse you here. And they want to expose you to the fact that it's minor. They don't want to wait till almost the end of the scale to show you that it's minor. So immediately, shrinking it down here, you immediately are in the realm of minor. Going up, it works just fine because you're exposed to minor immediately within the first few notes. A major scale here would be. So it's not an issue going up. And I could also give you other reasons for it there, but here I'm going to do the old little phone flip. But to me, a big thing is if we just kind of keep the idea that the harmonic scale is used mostly as to build harmonies on or chords off of, not necessarily used to play melodies on, which is why the melodic minor scale exists. Now, big footnote, because there's so many songs that use the harmonic minor for theme, so it's not like this is some crazy rule. A huge rule of thumb, massive thumb for this rule. But I remember being confused on why is it the 7th note? Why not raise the 4th note? Why not, flat the 2nd note? All those kind of things. And there are some scales where you will end up doing that kind of stuff here. But that to me helped explain things out, where I didn't bring up exactly why the natural minor is the way it is, but a big reason why composers wanted to create the harmonic minor was for this draw effect. I'll actually show this real quick. I kind of half explained this, but so with the harmonic minor, this draw, it's such a big draw for you to want to hear it resolve here. In the natural minor, you still have this instinct, like this still wants to go here, but it's not as much of a pull. For classical composers, they love that pull. There's some other I'm just trying not to overcomplicate this because I could give some other reasons, like this half step thing's huge. Mimics what a major scale has at the end, a half step, so they're trying to mimic that half step thing. Because in a major scale, you also get that big draw, so they want that half step ending. But I love natural minor. I love that. That's actually one of my favorite modes. Just as a joke, that Dre song's on it. So you could say, oh, that Dre and Snoop Dogg song is in a natural minor. I think in the actual recording is D minor. But, yeah, so anyway, that was a bit of a tangent here. But we'll just keep, I just want to show it in one other form here. I'll just do one on C. I like C. So let's start with natural minor. We'll get that form going. Whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. There we go for the natural minor. Then harmonic. Here's a seventh note. We're going to raise it. And once you can get that sound. And then the final one, melodic. Here's a sixth note being raised and the seventh being raised. Then back to regular on the way down. Once more. Cool. So here's that little sheet again if you want to kind of get those down here. Now for practice routines, there's a lot. I mean, it seems like not a lot if I say do all of your major scales and then all of your minor scales in all three forms. That's going to be, what's 12 times 3? Doing this on the spot. 36 minor scales, and then plus the 12 major scales is like 48 scales. That sucks. And then you have to do them with both hands. That's sounds like hell to practice. Scales are extremely boring. Everyone in the world, no one likes scales. If someone's really into practicing scales, I don't know. It's like, well, you know, maybe they become fun at some point when you have enough proficiency, but it's just kind of a chore. It's not the most exciting thing. So I would really break these up. Less is more in this kind of stuff, because if you burn yourself out by such a dull stuff like this, it might kind of ruin your enthusiasm to learn, you know, because mostly you want to learn so you can play awesome songs, you know. So, yeah, I hope this helps. The next video I'm going to do will be on, like, the specific fingering for scales. I might break that up into a few parts because fingerings change depending on whether it's melodic, harmonic, or natural. But, yeah, I always appreciate a subscribe and a like and all of that cool jazz. I hope this video was helpful. See you guys next time. Be sure to practice. Okay, peace.